Myanmar Tzu Chi volunteers continue to collect rice to distribute to families in need. Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital superintendent Lin Shinn-zong sets up a reading room at his old school. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. Because of the epidemic, Myanmar Tzu Chi volunteers have been distributing rice for the unemployed families since May, and they also encourage recipients to save a handful of rice a day. After a month, the rice fluff was collected again and distributed to the people who need it.
Holding a handful of rice saved every day for a month, the woman poured it into the Chi rice bed to let the love continue to circulate.
Being able to help those people who have a harder life than mine, I'm very happy.
All of them are able to understand the helplessness of having no rice to eat. In May, they received Chi's rice for the unemployed family, which relieved their urgent need. Now, they donated accumulated rice to help others. Chichings are responsible for receiving the rice and packaging it again. They often work until 12 midnight.
Although it is very difficult, we are able to alleviate some difficulties for the impoverished families in time. They give us the strength to move forward.
At the distribution site, Chichings told everyone about the origin of the rice, inspiring the villagers' kindness.
This rice was donated from the villagers who save a handful every day.
We'll also save some rice to donate.
I also want to save a handful of rice every day to help the people in need.
The village had also donated about $70.
We have received your help. We should also donate our love.
The story of kindness has passed from one household to another, helping each other to pass through any difficulties ahead.
The home of the Shi brothers was stuffed with piles of newspapers and recyclables. The youngest brother suffered from mental illnesses and often made the house messy. Tzu Chi volunteers were asked to help them clear the recyclables.
This flat is just like an ordinary residence without any difference on the outside, but inside is stuffed with newspaper that is about to pile up to the ceiling. This is the home of the three brothers of the Tsai family.
The youngest brother has mental illness, so he has a habit of picking up these newspapers, filling up the whole home.
After the eldest brother passed away, the second brother is responsible for taking care of the youngest one with mental illness. Yet his speed of tidying up cannot catch up with the pick-up speed of his brother, so he has to seek others for help.
A few years ago, we came to help him tidy before. The second brother, Nian Zi, said Tzu Chi would come to help, so I called Tzu Chi brothers to help them.
If there's a fire, it will be very dangerous, because if he smokes, or if a match or a lighter is struck, the whole building will be on fire. So we are here on behalf of helping the community.
Volunteers carefully check the newspapers and magazines one by one, just to make sure not to throw away something important.
Everyone is very cooperative to complete this task. We are very happy.
The recyclables, which have stuffed in a 99 square meter room, were cleared by a truck going for 6 times before the cleaning was completed. They were then sold to make money, which will all be donated to help the suffering people.
In Pingtung, the son of 52-year-old Lu Jingque suffers from cerebral palsy. After divorcing her husband 20 years ago, she shouldered the financial burden of the family alone. Although life is difficult, she passed through every obstacle bravely.
There are many small children in the house. Miss Lu, who is 52 years old, is a professional nanny. She usually takes care of 4 children for other families and her own child. 21-year-old Jian Ping has cerebral palsy. After divorcing, Miss Lu shoulders the financial burden alone, but she still took good care of her daughter and son.
At that time, my son was about to graduate from high school. I wanted to take care of him by myself. I used to work as a cleaner before and needed to go out to work every day, so I wanted to change my job.
Although he has mobility issues, Jian Ping is always his mother's intimate helper. He helps take care of other children. He also likes singing.
Yes, he will teach me how to sing. He is more optimistic than me. He always brings me happiness.
I love to show my talent if I go out.
The son is aware of his mother's hard work and is willing to make her happy. This mother and child face a tough life together, combating all difficulties with a passion for life.
This is the 30th year global Tzu Chi volunteers have been promoting efforts to save the planet. In Hualien Changsha, Tzu Chi volunteers often host weekly recycling events, but it had been put on hold for a few months. Now the coronavirus has smoothed in China, activities are resuming again.
In the evening, the courtyard of Hualien community in Changsha is bustling with activity once more, as this is the scheduled recycling night. In the past few months, the recycling event was cancelled due to the pandemic.
你攒了好多久了？你这些东西啊？
这个又搞了有2个星期了吧？上个星期我没拿下来。
他们家环保做最好，他们家奶盒都洗得干干净净，剪开晾干。
In this community, many know they must clean their recyclables before sorting, as the volunteers have been here teaching them since 2012.
这个环保做好久了。
We started a little bit after they did. Once they started in the community, we followed suit. After long they have been doing this, we have been doing it as well. So it must be some years now.
This near 80-year-old grandmother is praised as an expert in recycling, as she puts in the effort to sort items that must be separated before being recycled.
You have to separate the paper from the plastic, and then it can be categorized into paper and plastic.
The influence of Tzu Chi isn't just in this community, but neighboring residents also come by as well.
We've done this a few times before. The kids are older now, so they have more foundation about how to do recycling. We basically pre-sort at home plastic bottles, Coke cans into bags already.
After everything is sorted, the group will take the items to the recycling buyer, so the community can remain uncluttered and clean, ready to take on the next recycling day.
Lu Jingque, a migrant worker in Singapore, has been suspended from working due to the pandemic. Here we see how he turned his worries into motivation to help others and actively contributed.
I'm 48 years old now, and it is the first time for me to do shopping. I learned it during this epidemic.
Lu Jingque, who has always busy with work, has now transformed into a stay-at-home dad. During epidemic prevention period at home, he has more time to accompany his family.
Because of this epidemic, I have more time to accompany my family. I used to work and came back very late. Because of the epidemic, I have the opportunity to spend more time with my children.
Lu Jingque was originally a migrant worker who traveled between Singapore and Malaysia. For several months, because of the movement restriction order, he could only stay in Johor Bahru. In addition to accompanying his family, he also changed his mind and spent the time at home to enrich himself.
This doctor told us to clench our fists. I've learned a lot. Otherwise, we have only been eating and sleeping in the past 2 months. The state of the whole person is not really good.
Through online cultivation class, the couple turned the worry of possible layoffs into a motivation to help others. They often had to Jinshi Hall to participate in the production of face shields and protective gowns.
I help with cutting the thread, packaging, loading, and unloading the goods here. It's also a good thing to contribute for the frontline healthcare workers.
Lu Jingque said it is better to change his mind to face every day enthusiastically instead of worrying about the future. Only when gathering more power of love should this epidemic be eliminated.
Saiton is originally from Myanmar and he escaped to Malaysia seeking a better, peaceful future for his family. However, his youngest child's medical expense has made his burden unbearable. After Tzu Chi learned of their situation, they partnered with the UNHCR to provide the family some reliefs.
When the Civil War occurred, my wife and I escaped here. We came here and had 2 children. Life was hard 4 years ago. My son was sick. He has kidney disease and was in hospital all the time. I quit my job to take care of the kids, and only my wife worked.
7-year-old Tsai Tsai's sickness has pushed the family further into economic despair, and without money to support his medical bills, Tsai Tsai was in grave danger.
We heard from the UNHCR there was a child with kidney problems. They can't receive the same benefits as Malaysian residents. So if he doesn't get help from the charity organizations, he'll be transferred to hospice care. After discussing it over, we decided we must help.
After a round of communication, Tzu Chi decided to work with the UNHCR to bring this family some hope, with the former providing family care while the latter subsidizing medical fees.
With charity organizations helping me, I'm doing well. My family has enough to eat, plenty to drink. We thought since he's not a citizen of Malaysia, we will continue to follow up with him to ensure the 2 children can receive a proper education.
With the help of charity organizations and love in society, this refugee family can thrive with the warmth provided.
Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital Superintendent Lin Shinn-zong graduated from 01 Elementary School in Tainan City. Considered that students in remote villages lack resources, he established a Jingce reading room so students can cultivate humanistic culture. Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital Superintendent Lin Shinn-zong stands out among elementary school students as he wore a suit and tie while returning to his old school to be a student again.
It's really different from before. In the past, we all worked hard to pass the exam and go to good school. Now students are here to acquire knowledge and be a world-class citizen.
On top of sharing his experiences with students, he also set up a Jingce reading room on campus.
Through the Jingce reading room, we can pass down the Master's Dharma wisdom and compassionate spirit to the countryside so that these children can learn to give of themselves and help others while they are young.
These books on morality can improve the humanistic culture of local students.
The Jingce reading room has helped the students in this over 100-year-old school cultivate good reading habits.
I feel nice to have so many books to read.
Here is quiet and no one will bother you. These books are also very interesting to read.
Cultivating good reading habits through good books, the children in remote villages can grow up happily in an environment filled with knowledge and humanistic culture. To thank the healthcare workers in Tzu Chi's medical facility for their efforts in safeguarding Taiwanese citizens, Chairman Master Zheng has given them the new foldable reusable utensils from the Jingque line as a show of gratitude. DaAi Tzu Chi Hospital has also received this gift and is putting them to good use.
As the novel coronavirus is slowing down in Taiwan, DaAi Tzu Chi Hospital superintendent helps to give a gift to the healthcare workers on behalf of Master Zheng to thank them for their hard work.
This design is able to withstand high heat. It's compact and storable. When our colleagues received this gift, they're glad to help spread the vegetarian message to their family or friends. As through vegetarianism, we can spread Tzu Chi's message of respect for all life and the planet.
Thank you, Master Zheng, for giving us such a wonderful reusable 7-set tableware. This is convenient to use and will help us reduce the use of disabled items. It is also long-toxic, which is nice.
The foldable storage function is not only a design concept, but is also convenient for on-the-go takeout.
It's foldable, so it doesn't take up room in our bags. When I'm out, I can even use it as a cup to drink water in.
Having your own tableware not only reduces the pollution on the environment from disposables, but also helps to minimize the spread of viruses.
As the COVID-19 epidemic continues around the world, frontline medical staff at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital shared their experience caring for infected patients. They submitted what they've learned to the Chinese Journal of Microbiology and Immunology.
COVID-19 is mainly transmitted through aerosol droplets, making it a highly infectious disease. According to the previous studies of virus sampling in the isolation wards of confirmed patients in Singapore, these wards were indeed full of viruses. A research team headed by Su Wenlin, director of the intensive care unit at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, investigated whether or not the virus is still likely to spread in these wards by infected individuals.
If a patient with mild symptoms is in an isolation ward or a negative pressure isolation room, we will let him wear a mask. Severely ill patients are connected to a respirator through a closed loop, and there is a filter between the patient and the respirator.
Before the ward was cleaned, researchers took samples at 16 points, such as bed rails, mattresses, and air outlets, and tested them by RT-PCR nucleic acid. It was found that no viral DNA remained in the environment. This means that environmental cleanliness is a major focus.
Cleaning is one of the core duties of our medical team. We need to cooperate with the cleaning staff to keep the environment clean.
Although the epidemic in Taiwan has slowed down, the international epidemic has not subsided yet. This means that the threat of disease cannot be ignored. The results of this recent study can provide reference for first-line medical colleagues to avoid future virus infection.
Drug development for coronavirus is very difficult because it is a new virus in the case of global epidemic. Everyone hopes that effective drugs can appear as soon as possible, but research and development takes time, and the fastest way at present is to try older drugs used to treat viral diseases such as AIDS or Ebola. Although the academic community believes there is a hope to synthesize new drugs, many feel it is a very difficult race against time.
The coronavirus epidemic has been raging for nearly half a year. The world is looking for the fastest possible antidote, and new use of old drugs has become one tactic used by the medical industry.
There are many old medicines and new drugs that utilize the same principle. For example, if you use AIDS medicine or that's for other diseases, you will face similar results as they are not particularly targeted against the coronavirus itself. So I think we can find better medicine.
Synthesis of new drugs is not easy. First of all, you must be able to grasp the characteristics of the virus. The new coronavirus, COVID-19, is a ribonucleic acid virus, that is, RNA virus, which can be seen through a microscope. Its secret is hidden in every synapse.
There is a spike protein on the surface. It looks like a crown, so it is called a coronavirus. It is about the size of an influenza virus. It has the ability to spread, as a sneeze in our upper respiratory tract can spread droplets with the virus.
There are two current drug research directions blocking antiviral replication proteins or trying to suppress the host production of virus while not destroying the host's immune ability. Since the difficulty of this work is very extreme, it cannot be accomplished by a single research institution. Therefore, the Ministry of Science and Technology is now responsible for integrating various resources.
Whether we are in academia or in the industry, we are integrating drug research, whether it is from the regulatory side, from the policy side, the clinical side, or from the practical side. We will have an inventory to provide the Central Epidemic Command Center for reference.
The WHO announced on March 20th that thousands of people will participate in large-scale clinical trials to test the 4 most promising older drugs in 4 different categories, including the internationally regarded drug for Ebola, remdesivir.
This is the structure of remdesivir. When we received this test at that time, we started by collecting documents, whether it is a part of paper or a potential part. We try to understand what it is. What method was used to synthesize it?
Remdesivir was developed in the U.S. by Gilead Sciences, a pharmaceutical company that authorized the NHRI to complete the high-purity synthesis of special gram grade before transferring the technology to mass production to a local pharmaceutical factory. After getting this task, it took only 19 days to successfully reach such standards, as a team are all outstanding young talents from Taiwan.
The so-called gram level process means that you have a consistent process which can be maintained at an amount above a gram, because if you cannot fall below this level, you must maintain a certain amount which is always more than 1 gram. So I must always help in a backup supporting role.
And this researcher continues to have dark circles under his eyes.
The branch part is the synthesized fragment from zero to crystallization. Later, I will hand it over to another member to make a purified crystallization.
The principle of defeating the virus with remdesivir is very clear. A doctor who led the research team said that the chemical structure of remdesivir looks very much like the virus. It uses the components of remdesivir to deceive the viral RNA.
How does remdesivir deceive the virus? In fact, the biggest difference is that this part of the base is replaced by remdesivir, so it has the effect of killing the virus.
This Mission Impossible team has accomplished a lot and inspired lots of praise in the science field.
I actually come here every day, and what I tell them is, in fact, what you're doing is very meaningful.
I used to do experiments for myself, but what I am doing now are these experiments for other people.
Although the original American remdesivir will arrive in Taiwan before the end of July, the domestic research team has proved that in the future, in the event of a shortage from the United States, Taiwan absolutely has the capability of making this drug and can supply it in the future.
North District Tzu Ching's hosted a united graduation ceremony at Myanmar Tzu Chi ground to get ready for their next live stage. Take a look and see you next time.